Hello, everybody. Are you ready? Are you ready for Nick Kyrgios, Medvedev? I'll tell you what. This is either going to be living up to the hype, which Nick Kyrgios is so great at creating hype, or it's going to be the biggest dumpster fire to where everybody who goes and attends the match is going to want their money back immediately. And you are going to want to put a hit out on Nick Kyrgios because he yet again bamboozled you, fooled you into watching one of his matches, and you're not even a violent person, and you still want to put a hit out on this guy. So let's talk about what we think is going to happen. It's going to be entertaining. I mean, we know that. We at least hope for that. Oh my God, this is good. That was so good. I just love having coffee with you guys in the morning with my Georgia Bulldog Championship Cup. I just love doing that. So, guys, if you don't know the drill by now, you can come on in and you can leave comments and I'll post them and we'll talk about them. How about Monfils yesterday looking impressive? Yeah, I mean, Bublik, who also can kind of, it's interesting, like Monfils has been, although lately it seems like the last several years he's been pretty serious in his matches, but he can kind of be given some slack for our flack. I guess flack is a more appropriate word, or even it is a word. Is it a word? But yeah, he's been known maybe to not try his hardest and work too hard on entertaining the crowd rather than winning matches. And Bublik, the same thing. But Bublik was trying hard, and Monfils was on fire. All right, Bashkar, you are on. You're saying good morning. So as you guys come on in, I think really what we want to talk about today is the Medvedev-Kyrgios match, and is it going to live up to the hype? Can Nick actually beat Medvedev with how their careers have gone in complete opposite directions? If you don't know this, Nick Kyrgios is actually 2-0 against Medvedev. And the last time I remember watching them, they played on clay, and Nick basically toyed with him. Let's see here. Bashkar, Zverev is zooming through, beat Millman comfortably. Yes, that's true. He looks very good. He seems like he's figured out a lot of his mental issues. And yeah, he looks very good. Let's see. Bashkar was on fire on yesterday's show. We'll see today. That's true. You were on fire, Bashkar. You were on fire. So let's get into the match. Medvedev in his first round match. When you watch Medvedev play, it's getting very scary to watch because you're kind of like, where do you win points against this guy? He gets to everything. He stands way back at the fence to return serve. He gets most of these enormous serves coming in. He figures out a way to get them back. So that's not going to build well for Nick because Nick has those big bomb serves. His first round opponent said, I never saw anything like that. He's like, you see it on TV. When you're playing against it, it's quite a different story. So Nick has that huge serve, but how is it going to go against Medvedev when Medvedev just seems to be so good at returning everything? And then when you play a point against him, he just seems to be all over the court. There seems to be nowhere to go. So that's going to be an interesting thing. How's Kyrgios looking? Last year, he wasn't in great shape physically. Well, I know certainly towards the end of last year, it was really terrible. But Nick, see, this is where it gets confusing because Nick, when he gets motivated, when he gets up for something, there's no telling what he's capable of. And that's what gets us in every time. That's where we get excited all the time, and we go for it every time. It's like Nick loves to pull the carpet right from under our feet. Every time we get hope that he might actually do something, he lets us down. That's kind of been his MO. I mean, everybody, he packs the stands out. It's kind of interesting that you can see people who totally deserve a big crowd, top 5 in the world year after year. You look at the stands, you look at the fans, and it's almost empty. It's kind of scary. Kind of makes me want to pick up pickleball because pickleball is getting better fan support than tennis lately. But when Nick plays, even though the dude is now 115 in the world, he still packs it out, especially in Australia. And Nick, when he's got a cause to play for, that's when he plays some great tennis. So that's where it'll be interesting to see. Let's see here. 2-0 against Medvedev. How is that possible? Well, they played. This is when Nick still was figuring out his lifestyle. He was still able to figure out how to have fun, party, and be like top 30 in the world. Now, this seems to be catching up with him more and more every year, to where the more he lives the way he likes to live, it's affecting his tennis and his results. Especially with the COVID world, he barely played tennis. So we really don't know where he's at. We haven't seen him play a full calendar year in quite a while. But certainly towards the end of last year, he looked terrible. I think Nick focused on conditioning off season. He is much better than last year. Now, that's something interesting. I think that JRR just pointed out is in one of his interviews after his first round win, he was asked about it. I guess he contracted COVID, and they asked him about that. He's like, yeah, it really affected my workouts. I was working out 5 hours a day. I was like, what? Nick Kyrgios just said he's working out 5 hours a day? Is that for real? Now, that's great. If Nick is actually now taking it seriously and is working out 5 hours a day, I think that's amazing. You know, how long will he keep that up? And plus, what's Nick doing in 5 hours compared to, you know, like Medvedev? You know, I'd be interested to see what a 5 hour a day workout is for Nick. How much of that 5 hours is actually like hard work where you're like, damn, this dude's an animal. He's working hard. He's super focused. Or how much of it is fooling around, carrying his girlfriend around the court, taking selfies, posting on Instagram, you know, hitting in between the leg shots, hitting behind the back shots, you know, playing butts up. Like, what is a 5 hour workout for Nick? That's a big question. I tend to think it's all the things that I just said. I think that's what it is. Nick will have the crowd on the side. Will this help him? Now, that's interesting because his first round opponent, super nice guy from Great Britain. I don't even remember his name. I think the guy's like a qualifier. Let me look it up here. So we'll go Nick Kyrgios. I'm just going to go to my Googles. But I do know that guy said, hey, you know, it was kind of it was an experience. I can't say it was a fun experience. I don't like losing. And, you know, to go out there against the crowd, he ultimately said he thinks it's good for the sport. He thinks Nick's good for the sport. But, you know, it wasn't the best feeling to have the crowd so against him and on Nick's side. But remember, Medvedev, first of all, completely different guy. And he has a lot of experience. He beat this guy, Brody. That's right. He beat Brody. 6-4, 6-4, 6-3. I mean, that sounds like a pretty convincing win, and it was. But, I mean, you got to consider this guy, Brody, who is no Daniil Medvedev, got 4-4. If you ever played a match and you lose 6-4, you feel like you're into the match. I mean, 6-4, 6-4, 6-3 sounds routine. But if you go out and you play tennis and you lose a set 6-4, if you're the person with 4 games, you kind of feel like you're in the match. You don't feel like you're getting absolutely blown off the court. You know, that's not a 6-2, 6-2, 6-3 victory. That's 6-4, 6-4, 6-3 against Brody. Medvedev's completely different. And Medvedev loves a crowd that's antagonistic. If you remember, he was hurt at the U.S. Open the year he got to the finals against Nadal, and he was hurt. I think he was playing Monfils or somebody like that. It was a great match. And he did something that got the crowd against him, and that fired him up. The more the crowd got against him, the more he loved it. And he said, he thanked the crowd after the match, and he said, because of you guys, I won tonight. He's like, if you guys didn't get on me, I would have lost. And he's like, because of you guys, now I'm going to go all the way to the finals. And he did it. He did it. And he was hurt. That was pretty impressive. So, you know, I think that Daniil Medvedev, he's a little devil. You know, he's a sneaky little devil. I think he's going to relish, kind of like Reggie Miller when he go into New York. He's going to relish the crowd against him. So I don't think, obviously it's going to help Nick get pumped up, but I don't think it's going to be intimidating at all to Daniil Medvedev. I don't think it's going to get under his skin in a bad way. It might get under his skin where, again, it gets him motivated, fights extra hard, and he would take no greater pleasure than destroying Nick in front of his Aussie fan base. I think he's going to like it. What say you? Let's read some comments. Hope Nick did not go out to the bar after yesterday's match. First of all, you know Nick went out to the bar after yesterday's match. One thing that's kind of interesting if you watch now Daniil can be very entertaining too, and definitely has a different personality. Entertaining, I like him. And the contrast in their press conferences was really interesting. When Nick Kyrgios was asked about playing Medvedev, he's like, "Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a challenge. I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm not going to think about it now. I'm just going to, enjoy this time with my mates, my team, and to be honest, I'm not even going to think about the match until I walk on the court." That's what he said. He's not even thinking about, which I find that hard to believe. I mean, I think a lot of this is just BS he tells. But according to Nick, he's not even thinking about playing Daniil Medvedev, the number one player in the world, until he walks on the court. Then he'll deal with it. Where Medvedev said the complete opposite. They asked about how he's playing everything, and Medvedev said, "Listen, if I feel like I'm playing well, I feel like I'm a different player than I was 2 years ago. And, whether I win the tournament or lose first or second round, that I just look at the things I can control. And so, what I'm doing right now after the match and the day before the match and then the day of the match, all the stuff that I'm doing, and I feel like I do the best job I can at preparing. If I lose, I can accept that." So he's obviously turned himself into a complete professional. He says he just works on, he's like, he said, I'm just trying to improve or stay at the same level. He goes, and really to stay at the same level, you have to feel like you're improving all the time. Well, this is the opposite of Nick. I mean, Nick has not strived to get better his whole career. He just strives to live day by day, which is kind of cool. I mean, I think that's why we like to watch him is we have a love-hate with him. We're kind of jealous that he can go out there and not really practice and make millions of dollars and hit 130-mile-an-hour serves and always have a hot girlfriend. I mean, that's not a bad life. Nick is always super motivated against top-ranked players. Hope Medvedev ain't going to get rattled. Both guys can be mentally unstable in best of 5. Well, I mean, I find that Nick can certainly be mentally unstable, but Medvedev, I don't see him as mentally unstable for quite a while. I think Medvedev is really, he's starting to master the mental game. So it's really going to be about how can Nick show up tonight. And really what we saw against Brody, which was entertaining and impressive, can we take any of that to the bank against Medvedev? If you look at the highlights, yeah, there are some great shots, but there's also some like drop shots that were literally lobbed near the service line, like not great drop shots. And Brody came and just spanked the ball away, hitting a between the leg lob over Brody's head, hitting the between the legs serve. This stuff ain't going to fly against Medvedev. You can't, this is where the tour is catching up to Kyrgios. You can't be an artist anymore out there. You can't throw points and games away. The game has become very disciplined. They're hitting the crap out of the ball, but they're hitting big shots to big targets. That's what the pros do today. They hit big shots to big targets. And to you and I, it looks like they're taking a high risk. To them, they're playing pretty safe. Look at how much Medvedev misses. He doesn't miss very much, okay? But he still hits the ball very hard, and he still hits a lot of winners. But he's not taking, for him, a lot of risk. And he's just not throwing points away willy-nilly the way that Kyrgios does. He can get away with that against Brody, who's a qualifier, who's never been in a situation where he's out there against Kyrgios in front of his fans. He can afford to do that. That's not going to work against Medvedev. When I got to watch Kyrgios at the Cincinnati tournament when he completely blew up. It was a big story when he played against Kachanov. And I was watching going, this dude is so amazing that he can play Kachanov and pretty much almost win. He pretty much tanked at the end. But he can literally he would throw away about 40% of the points just because. I'm not going to try 40% of the time. I'm going to try a stupid shot 40% of the time. Like, I'm just not in the match 40% of the match. He did that. I mean, literally, he tried about 60% of the points. And those 60% is the most amazing thing you'll ever want to watch in tennis. That's why we want to go watch Nick. But you can't go against Medvedev and just throw away 40% of the points and think you're going to beat this guy who, when you watch him play, is so stingy with points. He goes on rolls where you're like, how do you win a point against this guy? How can you win a point? Very much like Djokovic when Djokovic is on fire. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. Nick is super. Yeah, we talked about that. Nick's super motivated against top guys. It's absolutely true. But I think Medvedev's going to be very motivated. And I do think at some point, all this sideshow stuff that Nick likes to put on, it's catching up to him. There's a reason why he's 115 in the world right now. Okay. The results aren't coming like they used to. They haven't come for a long time. There's always been the potential of a big result. We saw him beat Nadal, which is amazing. He won the Acapulco tournament, which was great. But again, that's the Acapulco tournament, Mexico. Okay. I think he went jet skiing the day of the final and he still won. I love those stories. They're legendary. I mean, I wish he could pull this off consistently, but to consistently win on the tour, you've got to put in the work. You can't be a clown. You have to take yourself seriously, which Nick is unwilling to do. So at some point, it seems like it catches up to you. And I think it's caught up to him more and more and more. When was the last time you can honestly say, now he's come close. Dominic Thiem, he almost beat him. That was a great match. But guess what? He did lose. So when was the last time that you can remember that Nick pulled off a big upset in recent memory? That he went against a heavyweight contender. I mean, he always brags that he loves to play the heavyweights and he can beat them. But he did that a lot early in his career. He hasn't done that in 2 to 3 years that I can remember. And so to me, it started to become a lot of fluff, a lot of talk. And he is kind of like a snake oil salesman because we remember what he's capable of. But when was the last time against a quality opponent he showed up and pulled off a big win? So I think that this match, I want it to be great. I want it to go the distance. I would kind of enjoy seeing Nick win. Like, I think it'd be great if Nick won, but I also think it'd be terrible if Nick won. Because here's my prediction if Nick wins. I beat Medvedev, Shoto still got it. And yeah, I'm still the man. So, I didn't try next match because I kind of laid it all out on the court the match before. So I'm kind of happy where I'm at. And then he'll lose the next match. So, I mean, I kind of hope that Nick doesn't win because if he wins, I can almost guarantee you he'll lose within 2 or 3 rounds. Okay, he might be able to pull off another round win because he might have a good draw, a good matchup that, again, the guy just talent-wise is just nowhere in his stratosphere. So Nick might win another match or two, but I'm telling you, mark my words, if Nick Kyrgios can pull off an upset against Medvedev, which I don't think is going to happen, he will lose within 3 matches. He will definitely lose within 3 matches. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's the very next match because to take out Medvedev ain't going down easy. So, which I can see Medvedev winning. See, all the scenarios for Medvedev to me are Medvedev can either win this match easily because he can just play unbelievable lights out tennis. He can win the match in 4 sets. He can win the match in 5 sets. I only see one way for Nick to win this match. It's like he steps up physically, emotionally, mentally, plays out of his mind, and somehow steals the match in a long 4-setter or 5-set match. Now, if you had to bet, would you bet that Nick is capable of that in this point of his career? Maybe he is. It's certainly something we don't know. We know what Medvedev can do and most likely will do. And this is why we love Kyrgios. We have no idea what the dude's going to do. And we just pray that we see magic come back. But you never know. Out of topic question. Great question. Do you think Khachanov can upset Rafa? Absolutely he can. He's got a lot. He's going to show up. He's going to try hard. He's got a great game. They had a fantastic match at the U.S. Open when Rafa was in his prime. So he can, but do I think he will? No, because I think Rafa is super motivated now that Djokovic is out of the tournament and he has the opportunity to win this match, this tournament, and to win the French and put the GOAT he can hold the GOAT title for a little while, which I think he's looking forward to doing. Kachanov has epic versus Rafa in 2018. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Rafa versus Karen could be a popcorn match. Absolutely, Bashkar. So you guys are that's interesting. We're here to talk about Nick and Medvedev, and we're more interested in Rafa, Karen Kachanov. I think this could be a great match. It'll be a big test for Rafa. If Rafa can pull through in 3 sets, watch out. That really shows that Rafa's back and he's feeling great, which I believe he is. And, like I said, he's got to be super motivated to win the Australian Open because, up until – let's face it, up until a couple weeks ago when all this went down with Djokovic, I mean, it looked like a pretty sure thing. Djokovic was going to run away with the Grand Slam titles and the GOAT debate, and now it's advantage Rafa Nadal. Let's see this. What else you guys saying? How do you think Murray will rebound after the 4-hour match? Well, I mean, Murray in the press conference on the court, which he thought he was getting booed, but I guess they were doing some Ronaldo chant, so he wasn't getting booed, but he still said it was quite annoying. He wants to make a deep run, so he believes that he's physically fit enough to come back and play again. He didn't say, man, I don't know how my body is going to respond, and boy, I'm just happy I won today's match. He says he wants to make a deep run here, so, you never count the champions out. It's kind of weird to me the way he walks around and stumbles around. It looks like he can barely walk, but somehow he's playing incredible tennis once the ball's in the air. Nadal is going to take this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying out there. I think Kyrgios is very comfortable for Medvedev, so it's going to be a tough match for Medvedev. Yeah, I mean, Kyrgios can make anybody uncomfortable, but when you really think about it, so here, let me just tell you, because you can tell I've been kind of brutal on Nick on this live stream. So I was sitting at my apartment one day the Atlanta Open was on here in this summer, and all of a sudden it hit me. It's like, you know what? I want to go watch Nick play. I wasn't excited about seeing anybody play, but all of a sudden, Kyrgios is playing here in Atlanta this summer. I want to go watch him play. I'd go pay money to go see that. That's what I was saying in my head. And I said it to my girlfriend. I said, Yvonne, let's go watch him play. I'd actually go pay money to go watch Nick play. So we go down there, and then the prices are just outrageous. It was like $225 for 2 tickets. I'm like, well, I'm not paying that much to go watch Nick play. And then we went to a local Mexican restaurant, sat at the bar, and Nick was playing Cam Norrie. And I thought, this is going to be a great match because Cam's going to make you hit a lot of balls, and Nick will get to show all his talent. Well, Nick showed up completely out of shape, unfocused. The match was a joke. And I was thinking, man, think about all of the people that paid really good money and the disrespect. I mean, I know you can say, hey, it's my life, but your job is to entertain people. And a lot of people believe that, you can that you're the person that can entertain them. And I mean, the match was a joke. He was clearly just outworked, outclassed by a professional. And I think that is going to be the case. I think Nick's going to get out there. This is just my gut feeling. Nick's going to get out there. He's going to be jacked up. The first set might go one way or the other. But I think at some point in the match, Nick's going to realize how hard it is to consistently win points against Medvedev, and he's going to get tired, and he's going to get mentally and physically tired, and he's not going to admit it because he's not going to admit it in front of the Aussie crowds, but he's going to, at some point, I believe he's at some point going to throw in the towel mentally and physically. That's what I think is going to happen because I think that it's actually a good matchup for Medvedev now, because Medvedev is so in the zone with making you play balls. And if you hit a bad shot, he's so good at punishing you. And Nick will be in these points, and he's going to be trying to hit through Medvedev, and he's going to see this ain't happening. So he's going to try some stupid-ass drop shot that's going to be terrible. He's not going to – sometimes he's going to hit great drop shots, but just like in his first-round match, he's going to hit drop shots that are a joke, hit at the wrong time, and Medvedev is going to come up and clean house. That's my prediction. I look for this to be a 3-set match or a 4-set match with one really awesome set. But then at some point, Nick is mentally and physically going to throw in the towel. I think that's what most likely is going to happen. Okay. I hate to say that. So you make up your own mind if you're going to get up at 3 a.m. if you're on the East Coast and watch the match. Hurkacz's also lost. Looked like Nadal. Karatsev is tough. Oh my gosh, that guy is good. That guy, I love him. I love Karatsev. All right, let's see here. Let's see another one. I don't think it's fair to say he doesn't take himself seriously. He just wants to be his own man. I believe it's totally a mental capacity thing. Well, I think it is fair to say he doesn't take himself seriously. You know, it just, if you're walking on the Wimbledon courts and you forget your sneakers and you think that's funny, you're not taking yourself seriously. I mean, how do you walk on Wimbledon center court and forget your shoes that you have to run in? Oh, forgot my shoes. Oh, funny. No, that's what's frustrating. Yes, you can be your own man. You're free to be your own man. I have defended Nick to where I say, you know what? Hey, if I was a young person like Nick is, and somebody gave me a deal like, hey, you can be a millionaire. You can try about 50 to 40% of your max capacity, and you can travel all around the world and have amazing, beautiful women always in your life. Of course, who's not signed up for that? But unfortunately, if you want to be a tennis professional and see how good you can be. I mean, there's probably other aspects of his life that he does take himself very seriously. But when it comes to tennis, if you're just analyzing his tennis career, he does not take himself seriously. A guy this good should not be 115 in the world if he took himself seriously. So he doesn't take himself seriously. If he took himself seriously, he'd be top 20 at the very least. I mean, I saw him play Rafa Nadal in Cincinnati, and it would look like David against Goliath, okay? And Nadal was David. So, you know, I mean, he's made top 5 players look foolish. But, you know, look how foolish he is at 115. So I'm just saying, if you're looking and analyzing his career, he does not take his tennis seriously enough. He takes it seriously enough to just do the bare minimum he's been able to stay ranked high enough to get into all the majors. But if he keeps going this route, he's barely now qualifying. He's 115 in the world. You drop another 30, 40 spots, you're not even getting into the main draws, guys. He enjoys it more when he is ready to play and be the spoiler. I never expect him to sustain it because he has no problem voicing it. I respect him. He should change to please me, or maybe he should not change to please me or anybody else. Again, that's where it's so debatable. I see both sides of it. I see, hey, if I'm Nick and I'm loving life and enjoying all the things, I don't blame him. That it seems like a great life he has. But, you know, that's where a debate is. Does he owe the sport anything? Does he owe the fans who are paying lots of money anything? I don't know. I mean, look at how great it could be. Can you imagine how great it could be? Our sport is in trouble, guys. I'm just going to say it flat out. You know, I think it was Rafa or somebody said, you know, it's things have to change at some point. You know, tournaments are struggling to make money. They're losing money. And they're losing money for a couple of things. Number one, COVID, obviously. Number two, there's not many people, I hate to say it, there's not too many people intriguing and interesting enough that you're going to spend your money and you're going to sit there and watch. And there's enough of those people to fill out the stands. Nick happens to be one of those people who can actually fill out the stands. But the problem is he can only fill out the stands for a match or two because he's not fit enough mentally and emotionally to get through an entire tournament. So, you know, does he owe tennis anything to take himself seriously? Because he could literally save tennis for at least 5 or 6 years. I mean, you know, you need people love to go watch. Nick is one of those people love to go watch. I just wish that when I turn on the TV, I can consistently see a good effort, you know, and the entertainment. But, you know, sometimes you can't be everything to everybody. So that's just my opinion. We must not forget that Kyrgios leads 2-0 in head-to-head matches. We've talked about that. That's true. But you know what? I think we can forget that because both Nick and Medvedev say, I don't think it's really a big deal. Nick said himself, Kyrgios, Medvedev is a completely different player than he was 2.5 years ago when we played. His stock's been going through the roof. If he's a stock, by Medvedev. Kyrgios, the opposite. Boom. And that catches up to you. Again, I see this match going a couple of ways. Either Nick can somehow, it's going to be, again, an incredible effort when you have not been putting in the hard yards to go against somebody who is so mentally and physically fit and hungry to win like Medvedev is, and is not going to be intimidated by the Australian fans one bit. Nick's going to have to put all that on his shoulders, know that he doesn't really deserve to win, and still somehow win because, I'm just that good, mate. I'm just that talented. I mean, that's all he's relying on is, I'm a beast when I want to be. That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to go into a match and know you're not prepared. I can tell you as, certainly nothing serious like them, but I was a, very serious junior player, college player, coached a lot of people. You play your best when you know you deserve to be there, when you know that you put in the hard yards. And sometimes, in my life, I've gone, man, I'm working really hard. I feel great. I feel like I should be beating the players around me in my area. I feel like I deserve to win. And then there's other times for whatever reason, whether you're coming back from an injury or you just weren't working as hard, where you go on the court, you're like, I hope I win, but I know I'm not in the shape I could be. And that's where Nick's at. He says he's been working 5 hours a day. I hope that's been going on for a long time, not just for a week or two. Maybe after he had such a disappointing summer last year, that somehow he has really consistently been playing 5 hours a day of hard work. But I'd love to see what those 5 hours look like. Let's see here what else you guys say. Agree with the disrespect thing, like going to a bad concert. Thank you. That's a great comparison. This is perfect because that's exactly how I felt when I was going to go spend money to go watch Nick against Cam Norrie. And then I was lucky enough to watch on TV and I'm going, thank God I didn't waste my money. And it'd be like going to watch your favorite artist and what a great singer they are and great performer they are. And they show up to their own show drunk or on drugs and they don't have a voice and they're stumbling all over the place. That's what Nick Kyrgios does for tennis. Like it or not, he's done it. That's what he does. So that's where I have a problem with him. I do think at some point you owe the fans, you owe the sport your best. And he's like, I'll try my best every once in a while. Isn't that good enough? And you know what? I guess it is good enough because he still can pack the stands up. He can still pack the stands. So I just wish he could give us more often. That's all. Nick lacks discipline because he feels insecure about his game. He covers it up with his attitude. I think this is exactly right. It's like, how much are you willing? I remember this reminds me of a speech I heard. I was an assistant coach at East Carolina University, and the head coach was Bill Moore, who gave some of the greatest speeches ever. And he gave this one speech on life, love, and caring, right? And he says, you can't really choose who you love, but you can choose to care. That was the point. It's like you can choose to care. And he said that, very few players are willing to put it all out on the court because they always, whether it's a conscious thing or a subconscious thing, everybody wants the yeah, but excuse. I lost, yeah, but, I didn't try my hardest, or yeah, but I'm a little injured. There's very few people who are willing to go out there, put 100% effort in, lay all the chips on the table, and accept that if I lose, I actually lost trying my absolute best. But that is the secret to success, guys, in anything in life, because that's what Medvedev said so great in his press conference. He said, look, I want to win this tournament. I think I can win this tournament. But if I lose even early rounds, I can hold my head high because I know what I'm doing. I know the work I'm doing. I know the preparation I'm doing. And as long as I do all that, I can go on to the next tournament proud of myself. And that is the formula to success that Nick has been unwilling to do. And that's why he's ranked 115 in the world, even though he could be ranked right up there. There's no question. If he put all his work in, he could be ranked right up there with Medvedev, maybe even above Medvedev. So I love this. I love this comment. Thank you. Keep great comments like this coming. Oh my gosh, Dominic Thiem is on the line. Okay, Dominic, Kyrgios is extremely good with the big players. So Medvedev pretty much will have to be in this good mood. Now, this would be awesome. It's actually Dominic Thiem, but I doubt it is. If it is, we love you, Dominic, and we hope you're feeling good. But I'll have to check out this YouTube handle after this to see if it is. But I doubt it is. But very cool, whether it's him or not. By the way, talking about big stars, though, we are going to have Bob Bryan, me and Gigi Fernandez. So make sure you get on my email list. Look at one of my other videos where I offer like a free serve course. Get on the email list because Gigi Fernandez and I will be interviewing Bob Bryan on December 27th in our Grand Slam call of the month. But you got to be on my email list. So get on my email list. Sasha was literally bludgeoning the ball tonight. I mean, Sasha looks good. Sasha obviously is working hard. He looks good. His confidence is high and certainly should win a Grand Slam soon. Maybe it will be this time. But I think Rafa's super hungry to get number 21, guys. Okay, let's see this. Potentially one of the biggest matches in the tournament. Nick versus Med. Rooting for Nick, though. I think a lot of people are rooting for Nick. If I knew Nick, here's the thing. If I knew Nick, if he beat Medvedev, would continue to be physically fit enough and emotionally fit enough to keep trying his 100%, I would have no problem. I might even be rooting for Nick Kyrgios to win because he is more entertaining to watch than anybody. But my problem is I love to see big names go as far as they can in the tournament. So when we get to the end of the tournament and people who maybe don't watch tennis turn on the TV to see what is tennis all about, that they see stars at their very best. Nothing's more disappointing to me than to get to a finals and you have like some no name in the finals, which the men don't have happen very often. But, the women have certainly had their fair share of that. They constantly have finals like, I never heard of these two people. And I like tennis. So, I'm just afraid that if Nick wins, he will lose within 3 matches to somebody who people are not really that excited about, where if Medvedev keeps winning and Medvedev gets to the finals against, Nadal or Zverev or anybody, I'm not even thinking about what side of draw people are on, but if Medvedev can get all the way to the finals against another, kind of blockbuster name, I'm excited about that because I know Medvedev is going to give 110%. And I know who else is on the other side of the final is going to give 110%. What I'm worried about is Nick will win this match somehow and then go out and just lay an egg within 3 matches. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. How will Medvedev returns Nick's serve one of the keys of the matches? I feel like Nick uses his big serve down the tee a lot and then the drop shots. Yeah, see, that's where I think that Nick is going to run into some trouble because his first round match against Brody came off the court and said, I had seen Nick serve on TV. He's like, but when you're standing on the other side of the net, it's something else. It's amazing. Well, Medvedev has played on the tour so long. Plus, he's seen Nick serve before. He sees other big serves before. So, of course, Medvedev's going to think, okay, Nick's serve is special. It's one of the bigger serves I've ever played against. But it's not going to overwhelm Medvedev. It's not going to shock him. He's not going to be out there going, what is this freak show? Like, he's not going to be shell-shocked by Kyrgios' serve. And he seems to have mastered the art of standing way back, getting the ball back in play, and then taking over the rest of the point. He's very good at that. So I think Nick is going to be in trouble because I don't think he's going to get near as many free points as he needs to pull off an upset. Nick doesn't have an athletic body. Well, he's got that weird. I mean, I don't know. He's definitely. What are you talking about? I think he does. Bro, it's called raw talent. Nick has raw talent, and he's young. and doesn't take it that seriously. What's wrong with that? People just get too caught up in the feelings. What? I mean, okay. I mean, I totally disagree with you. I think that Nick does have raw talent, and that's why he's on the tour. But it goes to show Nick is a perfect example, because Nick, if he took his game seriously, here's the point, bro. The point is if Nick took his raw talent seriously, he would be top 10 in the world, bare minimum. Instead, he's 115 in the world. Numbers don't lie. Raw talent is not working. If you look at Nick's results over the last couple of years, he's barely getting through 2 or 3 rounds. It's just that the 1 or 2 rounds that he wins are so exciting that we fall for it every time and go, oh, we love Nick and maybe he can do it. I'm not falling for the banana peel anymore. I think that Medvedev is going to show him what a true professional can do. If this ends in 3 or 4 sets, Medvedev should win it. But 5 sets, Nick has the weapons to defeat his favorite. Yeah, I mean, I think that you hit it on the head. Nick is going to have to bring it for 5 sets and fight his butt off. And the crowd might be able to get him enough motivation to do that. You know, he loves to play in front of the Australian crowd. He loves to play at the Laver Cup. He loves to play when there's a cause bigger than him. I give Nick all that, and I respect that. He loves to play the bigger players. He loves the big occasion. Yes, I'm going to give Nick all of that. But at the same time, he loves to not train so hard. You know, he loves to put on a show more than he loves to win. And at some point, it catches up with you. So instead of, continuing to climb up the ranks like he did when he was younger, he's slid the other way. And I think it's going to be a tough match because Medvedev is getting stronger and stronger each and every year. And he's figuring out how to win more and more. He doesn't know anybody anything, dude. He is entertaining like it or not. I do like it. And I've never once said on this broadcast he's not entertaining. I just think it's sad that our most entertaining player in the sport can only play like 2 matches. Okay, do you want to know who he is? So maybe he'll have a great career after tennis. He's Mansour Barami, okay? Barami was super entertaining, but a lot of people, he wasn't near the name that Nick is, okay? He didn't have near the weapons that Nick has, but he was an entertainer. He wasn't a player. And so when Barami was on the tour, he would win a match or 2. He'd win some matches. It was entertaining to watch. That's what Nick is turning into. He's turning into an early round sideshow that people want to go watch that loses. Results, that's what the results are doing. Karatsev is going to be on under the radar, I guess. With Novak not playing, I think he can go deep in the tournament. I agree. Karatsev, what a great story. 27 years old, turns it on, comes from out of nowhere. Now he is a professional who wins week in and week out. Love Karatsev. Nobody mentioned that Mev is now a Grand Slam winner. This changes everything, guys. Yeah, I mean, not only is he a Grand Slam winner, he's been in the finals and almost beat Rafa. Week in and week out, he's in the semifinals or finals. I mean, the dude knows how to win. He won the end of the year championships a couple years ago. He's a true pro now. Medvedev is a true pro. To beat the bet to make Medvedev win in 4-5 sets, remember me. Okay. So your bet is Medvedev's going to win in 4 or 5 sets. Okay, we'll remember that. I agree with everything you said. I'm disappointed in Nick. So his early round matches, he completely blew Joker and Nadal off the court. It was thrilling, like in his early matches, in his early days. He doesn't want to work hard. Big downfall for the match is that it is really early in the morning. Well, it's really early in the morning for me, but it's actually because I'm in Georgia, but it's going to play right into Nick's hands. It's actually going to be one of the later matches at night on Nick's court. They're putting Nick on Nick's court where people who have a regular grounds pass can go. You know, when you go to watch court matches on Rod Laver Arena, you've got to have the special pass to watch the match on Rod Laver Arena. That is one of the reasons sometimes that you're watching a match in Rod Laver Arena. You're like, why is there not a bigger crowd there? Because you've got to pay more money to watch that match. So sometimes, unless there's a huge name like Federer or Nadal play, the people with the grounds passes and even people with the Laver Arena pass are watching those other matches. So Nick is absolutely going to pack this one out. And make no mistake about it, the crowd is going to be 150% behind him. It will give Nick energy. It will give him motivation. But here's what it will not do. It's not going to scare Medvedev one bit. He's going to love it. He loves this kind of stuff. You know, he likes to play the villain. He likes to be the bad guy. We saw that a couple years ago when he played at the U.S. Open and got all the way to the finals. And by the way, the crowd doesn't bother him because look what happened at the U.S. Open. For the first time ever, everybody was behind Djokovic and going against Medvedev. Medvedev played incredible. The crowd being against Medvedev didn't bother him one bit. He's used to it. He likes it, guys. He's the Reggie Miller of tennis. Okay. Nick, I just don't care, bro. Stick has become predictable and boring and totally transparent. And I say that as a fan of his. I agree, Hugh. I'm a fan. I mean, you would never know it from this broadcast because I know I'm throwing a lot of shade, a lot of haterade out there on Nick. But it's become frustrating because I have been waiting. I mean, I've seen one disappointment and I'm like, okay, yeah, but maybe the next tournament, he'll put it together. And then another tournament comes and he's out first or second round. I'm like, yeah, but maybe Nick can put it together. And this has been going on a couple of years now. And I've realized, okay, well, if you don't work hard, it catches up to you. Talent can only take you so far. It's taken him further than most. Without working near as hard as the other pros on the tour, he's figured out a way to get on the tour, stay on the tour, make millions of dollars, entertain a lot of people, but it's catching up to him, guys. And it's been slowly catching up to him year after year to where the results are just crappy, okay? They are. You're not 115 in the world because you're posting up a bunch of great results. Okay, let's read another one. He's not young anymore. Yeah, I mean, he's not young anymore for the tour, but he is still 26. I mean, he still has a young body. You just don't know how his body feels with all the sloppiness and training he's been going through. It can work one or two ways. You're not working as hard as everybody, so maybe your body's in not as much pain, or you're not working as hard and you're not taking yourself as serious and you're not doing all the right things. So your body might feel older than it is. You might feel more beat up because you're not as flexible as somebody else, because you're not as strong in parts of parts of your body that you really need to be strong and stable that other professionals are who are working on those important things. So I don't know how Nick's body feels. Hopefully it feels fresh and he can put on a great show. I love Daniil's game, but for some reason he is easy for me to be someone to root against. I don't think I'm alone. Yeah, a lot of people do root against Medvedev, so he's used to it. That's my exact point, is Medvedev is used to playing the villain. He likes it, and it doesn't bother him. It'll be interesting to see how effective the underhand serve is against Medvedev. Well, that's a great point. I mean, that's a great point. That could actually be a very effective ploy. Then we can really give it credit for, because Medvedev loves to stand way, way back by the fence. Could Nick hit the underhand serve effectively and often enough to where Medvedev has got to start to make a decision? This is something I didn't think about, but I should have. This is a great comment. Let me put this right back up there by Mike T. This could be a factor. I mean, I'm really being serious now. This could be a legit factor in Nick's favor, to where if he's hitting this underhand serve effectively enough, it might force Medvedev to play a little more traditional, play it a little more honest, a little more by the book. When I was being taught to return serve, you were taught to stand a foot or two behind the baseline, split step forward, and return, just inside the court, so you could take time away and you could cut off angles of really good serves. Medvedev has figured out, you know what? No one's serving and volleying. And everybody has a big, humongous serve. So I'm just going to stand way back by the fence, get the thing back, and get into the point. He's mastered this. Nick's underhand serve, it could really work to where all of a sudden Medvedev keeps getting embarrassed by short serve after short serve after short serve and not getting to the ball enough to where he's like, damn, I got to play more inside the court. And he has not seen, this is interesting, he has not seen many serves as big as Nick playing around the baseline. He sees big serves back by the fence and no one hits underhand serves against him. But Nick probably is going to use this, and it might force Medvedev to get into a spot to return that he's not used to seeing the ball there. So this was a big point by Mike T. This actually could make the match more interesting than my current rants just 2 minutes ago. So this gives me some hope for Nick that he might, have something, trick up his sleeve that actually might really be very effective against Medvedev. It'll be interesting to see once Nick goes to some underhand serves, how fast Medvedev picks up on that cue. I mean, it's either going to work for Nick or could be a completely backfire because Medvedev has great anticipation skills. He might start to read the Nick serve and be able to still stand back by the fence and run up to it and still take advantage over the point because he's so freaking fast. They call him the octopus because he's so long, he's so fast. So the underhand serve is either going to work great or it's going to backfire, but definitely could be a big part of the match. Australian crowd and American crowd are the ones who push for you for real. Nick is going to have the support he needs. Yeah, but is he going to be able to give them the game that they need to keep rooting for him and to believe that he's going to win? Okay, a couple more comments and we're going to get out of here. I am glad that a tennis player like Kyrgios exists. Yeah, I am too, because he is a vivid example that talent without hard work does not mean anything. Ooh, I didn't see that coming in towards the end. Okay. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, he is an example that, hey, you can have all the talent in the world, but you're not willing to do the work, you're going to pay for it. Are you sure they are not playing in Rod Laver Arena? I am 100% sure, Michael. They're playing, and Kyrgios even said it. He's like, we're going to be playing on the Kyrgios court, right? So they're playing not on Laver Arena for obvious reasons. They're trying to give Nick all the support and all the chance he can do. Do you think Roger still has the hunger in playing, winning Grand Slams at 40, or is he going to play for the sake of it? What's your take on that? That's a good question. I think Federer every day is a different day. He wants to get on the tour. He wants to win. I don't think he wants to come on the tour just to say goodbye. I think he wants to give himself a chance to win. And I think he's going to find out pretty quickly. He'll probably give himself a year if he can stay healthy for a year. That's possible at his age. And he's going to see, can I play for another year or two or, gosh, even 3? Look at Tom Brady. And as he gets out there and he I think it's going to come down to, he's going to know after a certain amount of time, look, this is about as good as my game is going to get. I'm back on the tour. And now I can't use that, well, I'm just coming back on the tour, but I've played enough matches, enough tournaments to where this is where I am. And he's going to know it's either good enough to still compete against the best or the game keeps moving. When you get older, you don't move as well. And it's going to be very interesting, but he certainly wants to come back and win. Doesn't want to come back and just play. This conversation topic is boring to me. Nick isn't dedicated enough in his training to be at the top. To some degree, he's content to be where he's at in tennis. Okay, so what's the big deal? Oh, he's content to be where he is in tennis. Yeah. Well, the big deal is he's got a big match, and it's at the Australian Open, and people want it to be a good match. So that's the big deal, and hopefully he'll be able to do it. Nick has been posting on Instagram a lot of videos workout in the gym. I think this year will be a pandemic break if he is motivated. We'll see. We'll see. He will be more consistent and be in the top 20. I mean, wow. I don't know. That's saying something big. Well, 100 people on Pete's show this morning. Congrats. Thank you, JRR. Thank you. Thank you for the people listening. see what else. This is a semifinal match in the second round. It's not a semifinal match in the second round. It's Nick Kyrgios in the second round, where he belongs. Kyrgios is an entertainer, that's for sure. Kyrgios is an entertainer. Only the underhand affects Nick too with his rhythm. Be interesting to see how that underhand works. Should be a huge factor. I think we're talking about the underhand serve now. If we just look at pure talent, Kyrgios could have been a modern Pete Sampras with a strong baseline game. Forget the flashy tweeners, etc. But his serve is unparalleled. Add that bomb forehand. That's true. Yeah, he could. I mean, he could have been. But the difference between Kyrgios and Sampras are many, and one of the biggest differences is one of Pete's favorite famous quotes is, I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. So he was so motivated not to lose that he made sure that he was fit enough, hungry enough, just ready to play and win, that he didn't lose too often. I would love to see the great Pete Sampras play some of these people. In every high school class, there's the slacker kid who's too cool for school. He just rounds out with the person that, yeah, I mean, exactly. He is that guy. He's like the cool high school kid we all want to hang out with and we're all rooting for. But you know what? He's leading you down a dark path if you're going to be his fan. And he's going to disappoint you more than he's going to show up for you. Okay? It's kind of like, I guess you're the deadbeat dad who you always hope as a kid is going to come by and spend time with you that never does. Right? I love watching Medvedev. His game is amazing. Also does very interesting press conference. Yes, he's very – I don't think a lot of people know this. I mean, if you watch Medvedev in press conference, sometimes you can go his game. Some people people either love Medvedev game or they don't like his game. Some people find it interesting. Some people find it boring. But if you watch his press conferences, he's very interesting, very engaging. He's got a very engaging – entertaining, likable, in my opinion, personality in press conferences. I like him. Okay. I heard Nick trains harder than what people give him credit for a couple hours and is supplemented by basketball. He gives the facade, he doesn't train. Well, maybe he's training harder than he ever has in his life, and maybe his training has changed. It might be, Sean. Let me put that out there. Okay, so this is a great comment. But that's a big if. I mean, again, he says he's trained 5 hours a day. So for him, he might be training harder than he's ever trained in his life. He probably is if he says, I'm training 5 hours a day and then I got COVID. So he's probably training harder than he has in his life, which is only good can come out of that. Okay, so that's great. But I wonder how his 5 hours are compared to Medvedev's 5 hours or even Medvedev's 3 hours. Whatever time Medvedev puts in, what's the difference in intensity? I got to watch Kyrgios train in Atlanta here at the Atlanta Open like 4 or 5 years ago when he still had a great ranking. And he was very funny. And I remember for 10 minutes he trained and he was hitting serves. He was hitting shots. I'm like, I've seen a lot of tennis up close. I've never seen anything like this. How is this guy not number one in the world? That's what I remember I thought. Because he was out there, he was working hard and he was hitting big ball. I mean, everything. His servers were going flat 3/4 of the way up the fence. I'm like, this guy should be number one in the world. How is he not? Look how hard he's hitting. And he's working hard. Then 10 minutes later, he starts hitting in between shots. He starts hitting drop shots. He starts hitting, he starts playing mini tennis. He starts playing butts up. He's joking with the audience. He's saying, I'm roasting out here, mate. Like and then I said, that's why he's not, that's where he is. That's why he is where he is. And that's why he's not top 10 in the world. Okay. VJB says, thank Pete. Enjoy your comments. Thank you. Ooh, this is going to be a good match. Fritz Tiafoe. Big match, guys. I really look forward to this. Tiafoe is another. I would like to see Tiafoe win because he's more engaging and more entertaining to me than Taylor Fritz. And I do think that Tiafoe will try hard all the way to the end. I can't quite figure out why Tiafoe doesn't go further more consistently in tournaments. He played really well at the U.S. Open. I would love to see Tiafoe win this match. He's very entertaining. He knows how to get the crowd going. And I would like to see him make a nice deep run. That would be awesome. That would be great for tennis. Couple more, then we're going to end it. For raw talent and speed, how about Monfils? Oh, Monfils, come on. Love it. What would you have coached him to do differently with the changes he could have made in a couple of Grand Slams? Maybe tough no matter what with the big three. I think with the big three, it's tough. You know, if there's anything with Monfils, it's kind of what, although Murray had a better career for longer than Monfils, but I'd say the same thing. When Murray wasn't playing his best, it would be good enough to win a lot of matches, but Murray would play further behind the baseline and kind of roll and massage a lot of balls back in play. And Monfils can do that a lot. I mean, for a guy who has such big weapons, you know, he can blast a serve. He can crush a forehand like no other. He can even flatten out backhands. But, you know, at times he's content to stay way far behind the baseline and roll the ball. And I think he's done too much in his career where it's hurt him from, you know, getting comfortable playing more aggressively all the time. And I think that held him back, along with the fact that he also has said in his career that he's enjoyed entertaining people more than winning. So those two things have held Monfils back. Love Medvedev's loose joints. Yeah, he's very interesting. Can you talk more about with Nick in their Nick voice? Maybe. All right. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to end this now. And subscribe if you want to hear me talk more in the Nick voice, because I'm sure after the match, I will come back with my Nick voice, and we'll cover more matches, and also be looking out tomorrow. I'm going to put out a new YouTube instructional video on the serve. So if you do play tennis, make sure you subscribe. Get on my email list. So on the 27th, you can see Gigi Fernandez and I interview the great Bob Bryan. We'll see y'all later.